on CityCast Nashville. It's time for our Friday News Roundup. I'm joined by our executive producer, Whitney Pasterek, and CityCast Nashville contributor, Nicole Williams. This week, all eyes were on Tennessee's 7th Congressional District and the race between Matt Van Epps and Afton Bain. We're going to get into those election results, plus what's next for the downtown surveillance plan, tunnel time, and it's our favorite time of year, the Nashville Scene's Boner Awards. It's Friday, December 5th. I'm your host, Marie Cecilia Anderson, and this is what Nashville's talking about. Whitney, Nicole, what a week here in Nashville, Tennessee.
MG.
But real quick, before we begin, we've got some very exciting news to share. Next week, we are launching our year-end membership campaign. CityCast Nashville Neighbors is all about togetherness. Nicole, what's your favorite part about living in Nashville?
My favorite part of living in Nashville, which it actually took me leaving Nashville to realize, was that people smile at you. Like you're walking on the sidewalk and people smile. You don't know them, but they smile.
I can yap all I want into this microphone, but my favorite part about this job is away from the microphone, actually. I like to be in the community, attending the events that we uplift on our show, and be with y'all in person, which gives me a real sense of belonging.
Yeah, absolutely, Marie. It's been so great to learn about so many terrific organizations and businesses and parties because of this job, and we want to share it with y'all. So if you join our membership program, CityCast Nashville Neighbors, next week, you'll still be able to join us for our December membership event. Gonna just blow the surprise right now. We are heading down to Radnor Lake State Park to get an exclusive tour of their new grassland expansion before it opens to the public. We'll be joined by park manager Steve Ward, who, Marie, you interviewed on the podcast earlier this year, all about how this area helps the butterflies. It's gonna be incredible. And we'll also be volunteering to help clean up that area so it's ready for planting in the spring. This is gonna be a blast.
It truly will be.
So excited.
I am too. You know why? Number one, hang out with the neighbors. Number two, hang out with Steve Ward, because he
love
is
Steve Ward.
I'm obsessed. He's so cool, and what he's done for Radnor and the butterflies is unbelievable. So if you want to support our work, obviously, local journalism is what we're all about here, too. Join CityCast Nashville Neighbors today at membership.citycast.fm. And get this, Whitney, this week only, you're going to get your very own CityCast Nashville beanie to wear around town.
It's cold. I want a hat.
And I honestly want to see a neighbor wearing the hat and being like, shouting it across like a parking lot and being like, hey, CityCast Nashville neighbor, what's up? That's my plan. So if you hear me screaming, that's why. So membership is only $10 a month or $100 a year. Go ahead and join today at membership.citycast.fm. And now on to this week's headlines. The whole nation was watching on Tuesday night as Democratic State Representative Afton Bain squared off against Republican and former Tennessee General Services Commissioner Matt Van Epps in the special election for the Tennessee 7th Congressional District seat that Mark Green abandoned earlier this year. As we all know, Van Epps defeated Bain by about 9 points, attributing his win to the support of President Trump and reiterating that in Congress, he will be all in with the president to bring down the cost of living.
You know, it's definitely a bummer result for Democrats in a race that at one point was polling as almost statistically even. But 9 points is still a pretty significant shift from 22 points, y'all. I mean, that's a sign of not just a tremendous Democratic surge nationwide, but more importantly, it means that Afton's really impressive ground game worked. The campaign reports that they knocked on 70,000 doors, made 185,000 phone calls, and sent 103,000 postcards. As the New York Times reported, every county in the district swung to the left by at least 6 points from the 2024 election. Davidson, right here in Nashville, we swung 20 points left, which, I mean, I didn't know we had 20 points to swing, but we did. And yet I remain more obsessed with the double-digit swings in places like Dixon, Houston, and Perry counties. I mean, Perry County, y'all, that's like a holler between here and Memphis. There's like 8,500 people who live there.
Let's talk about some of the standout moments from this race. Nicole, what stuck out to you?
So I would say in the waning days of the race, when the Republicans were freaking out and they went on this sort of offensive to paint Afton as a Christianity hating, country music hating, Nashville hating, out of touch elite. But what's so funny is that the technically 3 congressional representatives that Nashville currently has, none of them have an office in Nashville. None of them have held a town hall in Nashville. They don't come here. They don't care about us. They hate us.
How great was it at her election night party when even after the results had been announced, she's out there singing a pretty freaking legit version of 9 to 5. Like, oh, she hates country music, everybody. Look out.
That clearly is a Nashvilleian who hates us.
Speaking of things that are out of touch, I personally loved the final rally from Matt Van Epps, which was in some like billionaire's mansion out of Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous down in Franklin. It was in the billionaire's car barn. I know a lot of people in Tennessee have barns, but I don't know how many of them have car barns. And then you got U.S. House Speaker Mike Johnson flew on down to wear a Trump jacket and hold a microphone up to the cell phone where President Trump said some words of support.
Well, can we get into the numbers real quick?
Yes.
How many people actually came out and voted?
It was about 179,000 people. Another fascinating fact, that almost matched the 2022 midterm totals. Remember, we talked with Matthew Klein, the analyst from Cook Political Report, who said that Governor Lee was trying to bury this election, in the holiday rush. But that's a huge turnout for a special election the Tuesday after Thanksgiving.
As always, we have sort of disappointing turnout in Davidson County. I don't know if Whitney wants to speak to that.
I would like to say that I want to celebrate Davidson County because I think people tried. We know that there were a crap ton of people who could not vote in the election trying to vote in the election here in Nashville. So I think that while that's kind of useless from an electoral standpoint, I think it shows that there was a significant amount of enthusiasm around this race here locally. We also know, Marie, your mom reported that there were people showing up at Bellevue Library all day.
Yes, one of her good friends was at the Bellevue Library early that morning on Election Day. Many people were showing up there thinking they could vote there. And then Margaret Kingsbury, our newsletter editor's husband, actually later that night was there picking up books for Margaret and also said there were more people showing up too asking where to vote. And so people who worked at the library really did help. They helped guide them and where to vote.
I also feel like this is kind of a failure of the Election Commission. Understandably, we have changes in where people vote. For instance, the downtown library, which is typically
we're going to get to that later,
where a lot of people in this district vote, was not a voting location because it is not open.
I think, honestly, if there had been another week prior to Election Day, there is a chance that Afton Bain could have pulled it out. I think that there was an obvious shift in, dare I say, the hope of the electorate after that Emerson poll came out that put her within 2 points. Marie, I know you and I both were monitoring the Nashville subreddit constantly during the last week or so of this. And more people were like, I didn't even know there was election. I didn't even know it was worth me voting. I guess I'm going to go vote for the first time because there might be a chance. Like, I think you saw a lot of local Democrats who are so disillusioned and so suppressed by this gerrymandering. I think you saw a lot of people finally have the light bulb go off that's like, wait, my vote actually could count. How did it feel to finally have national attention and a race that might be close?
Amazing here in Tennessee.
Crazy.
Crazy. The fact that people were texting from all over the country, how exciting, and the energy around it. I don't want the energy to go away because I believe in Tennessee and where we're headed in our future. And we got to keep that momentum going. Immediately after Afton lost, we got the results at our favorite neighborhood bar. I actually had several guys come up to me and say, like, I knew she was never going to win. And that led to further conversations with, this cynicism that is around our state, our red state, and then our beautiful blue dot. Is there hope?
Do keep in mind that the Tennessee 5th Congressional District, currently occupied by our good friend Andy Ogles, will be up next year. And that is only a 15-point Republican seat. And if you put 11 points against 15, that suddenly gets a whole lot closer.
Particularly in a regular election cycle, like a midterm cycle as opposed to a special election. 11 against 15, like you're very close, you're within striking distance. And so I don't think all hope is lost for Democrats.
But I also want to take off my executive producer of CityCast Nashville hat and put on my longtime organizer in progressive politics hat. Every time something like this happens, people go, well, it didn't work. And then they give up. I think the worst thing that could happen is for people to go with that and say, it didn't work. Look, it works in other places. It didn't work here. Because that's not the story of this election. This is the beginning. This is not the end. Mm-hmm. And now I'm putting my executive producer hat back on. I do want to let everyone know that we will be having an exclusive interview with State Representative Afton Bain herself, giving us a debrief on everything that just happened. We're going to be releasing that as a bonus episode this afternoon. So be sure to keep an eye on our website or the podcast app of your choosing for when that drops. We're really excited to talk to her. Last night was a council night due to Election Day on Tuesday. And once again, although we wish we were magical enough to see into the future, we are in fact taping this before the meeting occurred. We recommend everybody go check out coverage of the meeting in the Nashville Scene or the Nashville Banner this morning. And we'll, of course, be following any legislative news from that meeting and bringing you full analysis next week.
Before the Thanksgiving holiday, Mayor Freddie O'Connell's office quietly filed a memorandum of understanding between Metro and the Nashville Downtown Partnership, which would give the nonprofit $15 million of a state grant in the name of public safety. Y'all, we covered this story on Wednesday, so check it out on the pod. Stephen Hale from the Nashville Banner joined us, as well as Whitney, so listen to that. But the resolution was to go to Metro Council last night, but it was deferred in both Public Health and Safety and Budget and Finance committees. So, Nicole, we're going to pull you back into your service as for covering Metro
Council. Just when you thought you were out, we're pulling you back in.
I know, just picture us. We're lassoing you. We're pulling you in.
It's not you. You didn't do this to me.
What took place in those committees? Because we all thought, obviously, this was going to be going before Metro Council.
There were a lot of questions from council members in committee on Wednesday night. Again, this is a weird week because there was an election on Tuesday, so everything got pushed. Sort of some equivocating from the mayor's office. And council members seem to still have unanswered questions at the end of those committee meetings about what the MOU actually does, whether the MOU is required in order for the money to go to the Nashville Downtown Partnership from the state grant, what Metro will be responsible for and own versus what the Downtown Partnership will be responsible for and own. Just a slew of questions that got kind of, in my opinion, like mealy-mouthed answers.
I feel like Dave Rosenberg, who's the director of legislative affairs for the mayor, just kind of got up and kept saying the same thing over and over.
To me, as someone who has been following the surveillance conversation in Nashville for 5 years, who has been following the conversations around the Nashville Downtown Partnership for years, it was a little bit infuriating to listen to answers that at times felt evasive and not entirely forthcoming. Rosenberg kept saying, like, I'm not a lawyer, but it's my understanding that, ... Like, neither am I. I wish we had someone who had a full command of the facts.
Is there please, anyone, is there a lawyer on board? I think it's also worth noting that yesterday morning, Metro watchdog Mike Lacey released a new Substack confirming one more tiny detail of this whole mess, which is that the money is not going straight to the Nashville Downtown Partnership. It is going to the Nashville District Management Corporation.
Yes.
Which is run by the same guy, Tom Turner. So should we just be saying Tom Turner is getting $15 million? Nicole, can you please help us understand this?
I know, please.
Y'all, this is so frustrating. So technically, the District Management Corporation is responsible for overseeing the Downtown Business Improvement District. We talked about this a lot earlier in the year when Councilmember Jacob Coupin was looking to expand the Downtown Business Improvement District to include the Gulch. Now, the District Management Corporation contracts with the Nashville Downtown Partnership, which is a separate nonprofit entity, for basically everything. Essentially, the way that the District Management Corporation functions in Nashville is almost like a pass-through. Just like this is how we had to set it up for legal reasons, because that's how it says this operates in state law and in Metro Code. But really, all the money goes to the Nashville Downtown Partnership. Tom Turner is in charge of both entities. A lot of the board members are the same. And this, importantly, is not how bids function in every other city. Like other cities in Tennessee that have bids don't necessarily operate this way. There are cities where the District Management Corporation actually does carry out the functions of the bid as opposed to offloading that to a third entity. I think Mike Lacey was making the point in his Substack that legally the council does have more oversight over the District Management Corporation than they do over the Downtown Partnership, because they're required to review and approve the annual budget of the District Management Corporation, whereas the Downtown Partnership is its own thing. It's a private entity, not quasi-governmental. The council, the mayor's office, has no input over how the Downtown Partnership does its business.
It's all very complicated. The thing we want listeners to take away from this, though, is it's been deferred. So, this is now a December 16th problem?
Yes, it was deferred one meeting in committee, which means an automatic deferral by rule on the council floor. I think there's some discussion among council members about possibly asking for a public hearing to be held on this.
Let's say Tom Turner passed the money through to you, Marie, Nicole. What's the one thing you would do with $15 million downtown?
Pedestrian infrastructure, like traffic calming, raised crosswalks. These are things that are allowed in the grant. They're not things that are laid out in the MOU. So someone decided somewhere along the line, we would rather spend money on surveillance software and a Bearcat than making downtown safer for pedestrians and cyclists.
Right. Well, I'm always impressed with the red frogs from Australia. So what they're doing down there is keeping tourists and locals safe by providing, real necessary basic needs to people on the ground downtown. I was downtown last Friday, actually, at Robert's Western World and Margaritaville. Look at that. On a Friday night. Thank you so much. I took my family down there. And even 5 o'clock, it was getting wild.
Just really comes down to the overriding question when you say public safety. Safety for whom? All right, let's move on. What time is it?
Tunnel time. Last week, the Nashville Banner reported that owner of Shane Trucking and Excavating, Willie Shane, who has been working on the Boring Company's Music City Loop since they broke ground this past summer, walked off the job site along with his crew due to OSHA safety concerns, as well as the fact that the Boring Company has failed at paying his workers on time.
Oh, no. It's worth noting that Shane's company has worked in the past with major local clients like the Opry and B&A, and he admitted that he did have reservations about working on the Tesla tunnel, saying that his family's reputation would be at risk. Boring apparently reassured him, but the final straw for him that caused him to pull his crew from the site was when multiple employees reported that the Boring Company was trying to solicit them to bail on Shane and go work directly for the Boring Company.
Don't do that.
Poaching!
Shane also told the Nashville Banner that he and other vendors have filed multiple OSHA safety complaints since working on the site, but haven't received a response back yet. And their safety concerns is why Shane said he decided to go public.
Yes, one of those concerns is reportedly that they are using 2x12s to hold up the hole.
Wood?
I wish you could see Nicole's face right now. 2x12s, folks, made of wood. And I loved Betsy Phillips's column about this in The Scene this week, where she wrote, "My God, could you imagine trying to explain this debacle to any coal miner from 100 years ago?" Meanwhile, Boring is, of course, claiming everything is safe. Nothing to see here, just totally normal to have 2x12s holding up a hole.
Well, last week on a live stream that was, I believe, conducted on X on November 20th.
The former Twitter. Yeah,
Twitter,
yeah.
yep, X, Twitter. The Boring Company's CEO, Steve Davis, announced their plans to expand their Tesla tunnels to West End. They released a new Nashville map detailing an additional 2.9-mile underground titled the West End Connector, beginning at the Cumberland River on Lower Broadway, running along West End Avenue past Centennial Park and Vanderbilt, and ending near 440.
Hey, Nicole, do you remember any previous Nashville transit plans that might have involved that exact same route?
The AMP.
The AMP! What happened to the AMP?
It died.
Why did it die?
Well, because in Nashville, up until last year, we didn't like dedicated funding for transit projects.
I think it also had a little something to do with people being worried about riffraff.
Yes, yes. The people along the West End corridor did not want the types of people who would be attracted to public transit.
Anyway, all of this continues to be somewhat up in the air, as it has been from day one. They've got a bunch of TDOT permits to secure. They also still need permission from CSX to tunnel under the railroad, which I believe I brought up months ago. Folks, CSX is the company that owns the railroad tracks in this here town, and they not nice. I believe they've been asked on multiple occasions by the city of Nashville things like, could you not stall your trains in the middle of like 4th Avenue and block all of the traffic? And CSX has said, LOL.
Yes.
LOL.
So good luck with that. I really can't wait to see this standoff. Honestly, I think it's just also stupid. Betsy Phillips also did the math in her column about how many cars it would take to transport the number of travelers Boring is now saying its tunnels can move every day. So they're claiming that they can move, wait for it, 20 to 30,000 people every hour.
Whoa!
In each tunnel, because remember, the tunnels can only go one way. So Betsy, in doing the math, calculated that 10,000 people sitting 4 per car means we need 2,500 cars in each tunnel constantly. So that's 7.89 miles of cars. And then based on the length of a Tesla, that means there's only 4 feet of space between each car in the tunnel that only goes one way, and that all those cars are going to have to be going 60 miles an hour.
You know, it's funny. It reminds me of what is it? A train. It's funny.
We're going to have a little more to say about BNA later in the show, because there was a massive traffic jam again that ruined everyone's lives again. So clearly we still need a better solution.
Yeah.
But this ain't it.
One last thing to mention, and this week, you know, we're just shouting out the Nashville Banner all over the place because we love them. So the Nashville Banner reported that Mark Etherly, former Deputy Executive Director of the Metropolitan Human Relations Commission, or MHRC, is being indicted for theft, official misconduct, and money laundering. The charges stem from an investigation by the Tennessee Comptroller's Office that revealed that Etherly allegedly appropriated more than $60,000 for personal use while in office. Whitney, I know you got to sit this one out.
I sure do. I'm a commissioner of the Metropolitan Human Relations Commission, and therefore I cannot participate in this discussion. So take it away, y'all.
Well, so Nicole, real quick, what's your assessment of this? And was this investigation warranted?
I don't know the details of why the investigation took place. I think there was like some questions circling from Metro's internal audit department, the finance department. And so I'm not sure exactly why that got routed up to the state comptroller. I am all in favor of being responsible with money that the taxpayers pay. Like, our government should be responsible with that money. We shouldn't have people going off and setting up a bunch of third-party entities and funneling money to themselves. I find it interesting that the Human Relations Commission seems to have been targeted in this. We know that the state in general doesn't love commissions like this, like the Tennessee Human Rights Commission, which was demolished by the state legislature. And so I think there are some concerns that this might be part of a broader agenda. I guess we'll see at the end of the day if these things happened. Eatherly should be held accountable. But I do think that this cannot possibly be the only situation in which an official somewhere in the government is doing misconduct. And it's just interesting sort of where we put our resources.
Well, yeah, I'm glad you brought up the state because I was going to ask, is this normal? Are they investigating all of our local departments and what they do with money?
No, certainly not. You know, they didn't come in and investigate the Arts Commission. I don't know that they've investigated Nashville General Hospital when there have been a lot of questions about spending and contracts under previous head of the hospital, Dr. Joseph Webb.
Could it be part of something larger?
It certainly could be, and time will tell.
Dun, dun, dun.
Good news.
Good news.
Good news.
Wow.
Right. Wow, guys. Yeah.
Marie, there was something that like made your heart explode this week. Tell us what it was.
Busted open, y'all. Nashville's own Arnold Mint, chef of international market, just earned a spot on the New York Times list of top 14 cookbooks of the year with his new book, Family Thai, Bringing the Flavors of Thailand Home. Now, Woo! I have been obsessed with international markets since I was a child. And so the fact that this book is out there, and he's getting more recognition. The Washington Post wrote about it. I mean, this cookbook has been all over the place. I just want to shout him out. And folks, go support International Market. It was my favorite meal of 2025.
What did you eat for your favorite meal of 2025?
We had like a sticky rice lettuce wrap thing. Outstanding. And then the dessert, they had a coconut cake that they don't have all the time. It's just, their desserts are just made daily and different every time you go. And we had a coconut cake that blew my mind. So anyway.
Bonnaroo announced its lineup. I'm Old. The legacy act on it was the Strokes. It's not like Paul McCartney or Roger Waters. It's the frickin' Strokes. But other headliners include Rufus Du Sol. And there's going to be a Kesha Super Jam. And we're really crossing our fingers for our friends down on the farm that all the improvements they've made, like putting down new sod and improved drainage systems. And I think they're even doing slightly smaller attendance this year. Fingers crossed that Bonnaroo actually happens after last year's cancellation. And then really quickly, and I'll handle this, Marie, because it's sports ball. I just want to shout out the Vanderbilt Commodores and specifically their quarterback, Diego Pavia, who in a post on X this week urged Donald Trump to issue an executive order expanding the college football playoff beyond 12 teams in hopes that Vanderbilt, who's currently ranked 14th, could earn a spot in the playoffs. So I don't know what they're teaching those kids at Vanderbilt, but I'm not entirely sure that falls under presidential responsibilities.
I would like Donald Trump to issue an executive order to teach Nashvillians how to merge properly on Ellington Parkway.
Yes.
I would like Donald Trump to issue an executive order naming me Princess.
You're granted. Your wish is granted.
Thank you. What else is happening out there?
Boner Awards.
Yeah,
the Boner Awards, folks, have been announced yesterday. Now, folks, this is in the Nashville scene. It's their annual lineup of blunders and bloopers.
Love it.
And named for former mayor Bill Boner.
Bill Boner.
To be clear, this is not a penis reference. This is very serious municipal reference.
Mm-hmm.
We did get really excited this week that B&A is continuing to expand despite the fact that they cannot get people into or out of the airport, but they are expanding to potentially provide direct flights between Nashville and Asia. But then the Nashville scene had a boner for B&A called Congestion Question, talking about how there's all these quote unquote unprecedented gridlock events at the airport.
Well, I just want to say it is unprecedented that we continue to have these unprecedented events.
Yes, including on Sunday.
And that was unprecedented because had it happened on a Sunday before? I don't think so, Whitney.
That's true.
So, come on now.
Unprecedented.
It's true. I don't believe we've ever had people walking along I-40 with their suitcases on the Sunday before Thanksgiving before. So unprecedented.
Unprecedented. So my favorite was the beautification balls, our big, beautiful beautification balls on Korean Veterans Boulevard. Earlier this year, the Nashville Department of Transportation and Multimodal Infrastructure, in collaboration with our favorite
Let's say it
entity,
all together.
the Nashville Downtown Partnership, removed some benches on Korean Veterans Boulevard and replaced them with, quote, beautification balls, which are like
balls,
indeed. The Boner Awards balls, like these are all important municipal references. And a bunch of people got together and started building benches. And those bench building parties have continued because the city doesn't seem to want to provide places for people to sit and rest. Particularly, there are so many bus stops around Nashville that have no place to sit while you wait for the buses, which sometimes take a while to get to you. So big blunder by the city, but a wonderful story of a community coming together to address like a very tangible concern and improve the quality of life for Nashvillians across our great city.
Big ball blunder, beautiful benches.
Yes.
All right. Well, my favorite boner was where there's smoke, there's boners. Turns out storing a bunch of unsupervised flammable gas in a parking garage near a beloved civic institution might not have been the best idea. They blew up the library, everybody. Pictures from inside the garage that were sent to local media show a dozen gas canisters in a storage room that was operated by, let's say it all together, the Nashville Downtown Partnership. Their subcontractor, Block by Block, had been storing gas canisters in there. Anyway, library's still closed. So big book boom, blunder, boner. Marie, your favorite boner.
Mine was a Trooper Stupor. Folks, y'all might remember this. It actually was national news. A picture that circulated nationally of an 80-year-old protester, Lynn McFarlane. She's an activist in town. She's been doing this type of work for a very long time. And so in this year's state, legislative session, she was protesting peacefully during a proposed bill that would have prohibited undocumented students from enrolling in public schools. So she was carried out by 3 state troopers, and that's the picture that you saw circulated. And, it's interesting that you go to the troopers' website. It says, their mission is to serve, secure, and protect. You think
who are you protecting from the 80-year-old lady?
From the 80-year-old woman. Yeah, you would think that they would have something better to do with their time.
Congrats to everybody who won a Boner Award this year. Do better. Real quick, what's happening this weekend?
Pro Wrestling Symphony. Yes,
Woo!
y'all. This is so exciting. There is wrestling at Brooklyn Bowl this Sunday, December 7th. Tickets are only $24, and it's open for all ages. So bring the kids out.
All ages. And check out yesterday's episode with the guys behind Pro Wrestling Symphony if you want to hear more about that. We also want to shout out the West Nashville Art Crawl. That's happening tomorrow from 10 to 5 at multiple artist locations. It's free. And then, last but absolutely not least, we want to shout out our very own producer, Daniel Sumstein, whose new single, Mirage, is out today. He writes for fans of pop punk, emo bands like The Starting Line or Taking Back Sunday. He put a preview out on Instagram with some absolutely precious home footage of little Daniel.
I know.
And so that's available today on all streaming platforms. Y'all go check that out. That's
awesome.
it.
We
Too
did
much.
it, folks. Wow. What a week. Again, thank you all, Nashville, for showing up, for voting. Have a great weekend. Lots to do here. And Nicole.
Thanks, Nicole.
Thank you.
Yay.
That's all for today here on CityCast Nashville. And don't forget, you can support this show and get great perks by becoming a CityCast Nashville neighbor at membership.citycast.fm. I'm your host, Marie Cecile Anderson. Our executive producer is Whitney Pasterek. Our producer is Daniel Sumstein. Our Hey Nashville newsletter editor is Margaret Kingsbury. And this week, we had extra special support this week from Selena Say Reynolds, Noah Snyderman, and McKenna Hartford. Our theme music is by Prof Jenkins, with additional music by Carl Christensen and All the Kimonos. If you enjoyed the show, why not tell your friends, rate the show, leave us a review, and subscribe to our Hey Nashville newsletter. And like we said in the episode, we're going to be having an extra special bonus episode later in the day today with Representative Afton Bay. Toodles!